Stick around because today I'm going to share with you 3 effective tips for helping your audience connect with your characters. What's up, guys? My name's Brandon McNulty. I'm a writer, I'm the author of Bad Parts, and welcome to my writing channel. One of the most obvious pieces of writing advice out there is that you need to make your characters likable. We all know this, but we often don't know how to go about doing this and how to make sure that the audience can connect with your characters, because that is so important. If your audience doesn't connect with your characters, they're not going to connect with your story, and as a result, you're shit out of luck as a writer. So you need to find practical ways to help your audience connect to these characters. Today I have 3 specific tips that'll help you out. The first 2 are pretty common, so you've probably heard them before, but the third one is one that often gets overlooked. But let's start with this first one. The first one is to make your audience sympathize with your main character and your other major characters. Sympathy is something that can really win over an audience instantly. If we see characters going through embarrassing situations, or maybe their daily life is just a burden, or they're taking care of a sick family member, or they themselves are sick, or they're dealing with a death in the family, or they have any number of major problems going on, if we can sympathize with your characters, we will instantly connect with them, because when we feel sorry for people, that bridges the gap between the audience and the character. The number 2 tip: make your audience empathize with your characters. When we're talking about empathy, we're talking about helping your audience understand who your characters are. We're not necessarily feeling sorry for your characters. Instead, we're just understanding what they feel, what they go through, what's going on in their minds, in their bodies. Give us sensory details. If they're getting ready for a big event, like maybe like a sporting event or something, what is going through your character's body? Is there nerves? Is there a pounding heart? Is there, a mind that's just crisscrossing with all kinds of different thoughts? We might not sympathize with them, but we do understand, okay, this is what they're going through. This is something I can relate to. Oftentimes you want to show your characters going through their daily lives early on in the story. Even if we don't feel sorry for them, at least if we understand where they're coming from, why they do the things they do, why they're interested in the things they are interested in, that can help bridge the gap between the audience and the characters. And then my third tip is one that is often overlooked by writers, and it actually comes from a guide called Techniques of the Selling Writer by Dwight Swain. I've talked about this book on the channel before, back I think about a year ago when I was doing videos on scene structure. And in this book, Dwight Swain suggests that you should make your audience envy your characters. Now that might sound like a weird thing, because why would you want your audience to envy your characters? Envy has so many negative connotations to it. It's one of the 7 deadly sins. It's something that people say, oh, you shouldn't envy, you shouldn't do those things. But when it comes to writing fiction, you need envy on your side. Envy can help you big time, because if your audience envies your characters, that means that your audience wants to be those characters. They want to spend time in those characters' shoes, and they want to enjoy it. Now, typically we envy things like courage or ability or a specific lifestyle or just circumstances surrounding a character. Think about Batman, for instance. Most people are introduced to Batman when they're little kids, and what little kid doesn't want to be flying around Gotham City, beating up criminals, and then coming back to Wayne Manor and hanging out in the Batcave and being waited on by Alfred? There's just so many things to like about Batman, and on top of it all, in a lot of portrayals of the character, he's the world's greatest detective, he's always got money. There's so many different things going for Batman that we just can't help but say, man, I wish I were Batman. Another character that a lot of people envy is Indiana Jones. Think about the first time we see him in Raiders of the Lost Ark. We see him go into the tomb, and we see his courage on full display. He just brushes a bunch of tarantulas off his back like it's nothing. The next thing you know, we're seeing his wits at work, and we're seeing how he navigates the tomb, and how he gets the golden idol, and how he escapes, and we can't help but think, man, I wish I was this guy. I wish I had his attitude, his bravery, all these different things. There's so much to like about Indiana Jones, and that's why we get sucked into that trilogy. And then there are plenty of other characters we envy. We envy Luke Skywalker's ability to use the Force for good. We envy Darth Vader's ability to use the Force for bad. We envy Katniss Everdeen's ability to shoot arrows and navigate the Hunger Games and stand up to the tyranny. We envy James Bond because of his swagger and his cars and his gadgets. We envy Hannibal Lecter because of his resourcefulness and his smarts and his ability to cross a line and get away with it. There's so many reasons why we envy a lot of the most memorable characters out there, but it's usually because they enable us to envision ourselves in their position and envision ourselves doing things that we would never otherwise do or we're afraid to do. So keep that in mind. Whenever you're writing characters, ask yourself, is there a way that I can make this character someone that my audience would envy? So I hope this helps. Question of the day: who is one character that you envy and wish you could be for a day? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of Bad Parts if you haven't already. Also, be sure to check out my other videos, hit the like and subscribe buttons for me, share this video with a friend, and as always, remember to keep on writing.